relationships. All the resources are highly shared and utilized. For example, 150 people within our community share 5 cars. However, under capitalism, 4 people typically share a car. In this case, 150 people save 32 cars. We can enjoy very good lives with only 1/4 of the resources needed in a capitalist system. There are no rules and no discipline with punishment. We comply only with the natural and civilization Tao. A strong credit system has been established. Those who are dishonest will fail, as in the parable of the long spoons. Birth control is well carried out. No children have been born in our community during the last 7 years. One reason for this is to comply with national laws and regulations, and another is to lighten the burden of the nearly fully loaded planet. The funeral system of Xiefeng-style communism is such that no matter who passes on, only simple farewell ceremonies are held. Their bodies are committed to fire, and their ashes are sprinkled to nature. We have no graves, mausoleums, or urns, ash boxes. If measured by GPI, Genuine Progress Indicator, HDI, Human Development Index, and NHI, National Happiness Index, it goes without saying that the Xiefeng-style communist community is at the forefront. If the whole world can do the above, all humanity's crises would disappear quickly. Here, I want to say to all the capitalists that Xiefeng-style communism would not take your wealth away. To the contrary, it would bring you safety and stability. It would provide you with soulfulness and spiritual abundance. We human beings not only need financial well-being, but also soulful and spiritual well-being. Xiefeng-style communism helps people to achieve their highest levels of self-transcendence. As stated in Abraham Maslow's demand theory, you would lead very good lives. If you do not carry out communism, there will be no escape from the poor, because when a huge crisis comes, your armies and police will not be able to protect you. The wealth you possess will not save you. Here I want to say to the head of each country's government that Xiefeng-style communism would not interfere with your management, nor would it threaten or harm to your powers and positions. We are neither a religious group nor a political group. We are just a completely new production and life model. Please understand this. The person who has strong beliefs and ideals would never covet after short-lived power and position, nor would they waste valuable time on possessions and vanity. Here I want to say to the 80% of people who own only 5.5% of the world's wealth that your only way out is to move towards Xiefeng-style communism, that no matter what you do, you are not able to ascend to the upper classes. Your lives are constant struggles to survive. When you suffer from illness or natural disaster, you are set way back. For even those of you who own hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, that is only a drop in the bucket. If there is no food for a month, you would know hunger. Therefore, you should long for communism and devote yourselves to communism. Only communism can save you. Taking stopgap measures cannot solve humanity's problems. The only way out is for the whole world to transit to Xiefeng-style communism. How does capitalism transfer to Xiefeng-style communism? With keen eyesight and an open mind and heart, observe, investigate, visit, learn, and study the successful, practical experience of Xiefeng-style communism in our community. The transition should be supported by the United Nations and executed by the respective government of each country, with specific plans and steps. Do not practice this as a worldwide movement, but experiment in small regions at first. Each country should start with from 1 to 3 experimental regions. If they are successful, then they should spread it gradually. If not, then can give it up. In this way, such practices would not inhibit the normal operation of the current system, and it would also be good for exploring the methods and ways of eliminating the current crises which face humanity. Throughout the whole practice, Xiefeng-style communism will not deprive capitalists of their property, and capitalists can continue their commercial activities by following market law. Once half the people on Earth enter this communist lifestyle, and when the capitalists see that communist life is more ideal than their current lives, they will embrace it and become willingly involved with the exploration and practice of Xiefeng-style communism. Not putting requirements on anybody at any time is the core principle of Xiefeng-style communism. People who are involved in the production and life of Xiefeng-style communism must first have a soul garden purification. Capitalism is created and realized by stimulating people's selfishness, greed, wisdom, and skill to realize individual value through attaining resources, wealth, status, rights, and fame. However, Xiefeng-style communism is created by positively inspiring the qualities of sincerity, kindness, beauty, love, faith, and honesty deep within people's hearts to climb to the highest realm of temporary life and eternal life. Without purifying one's soul garden, the laziness, selfishness, and greed of people cannot be overcome, and such people are not suitable for a communist lifestyle. After 7 years' practice, Xiefeng-style communism is still not perfect. We are still exploring it as walking a tightrope or walking on thin ice, which means that we need wise and judicious people from all over the world to point our mistakes out, to offer advice, and to practice it together. We need understanding as well as involvement and support from governments much more. The future is bright, but the road is tortuous. No matter how tough the path and how much difficulty we encounter, we need to make every effort to succeed. Only by making strong effort can we have hope, but once we give up making this effort, the future will definitely be bleak.
耶稣要我们别结婚成家。
Jesus never wanted us to marry. Xiefeng. April 29, 2008. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. The teachings of Jesus is the way of life and truth and the journey to heaven. Jesus is Christ and the Savior. Following his instructions and living according to his instructions is our main guarantee of going to heaven. There are 2.1 billion Christians in the world, but only a small percentage of them truly understand his teachings, and even fewer live according to them. The vast majority are what we call Sunday Christians or verbal Christians, not real ones. Let us illustrate with the example of marrying and starting families. Jesus told us not to marry and start families. Why? On what basis? First of all, we need to know that in his time, he could not tell people directly not to do that. Otherwise, he could not preach to them, so he managed to speak in parables not to be understood directly. He said, "The knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them." At the same time, he also said not to give that which is holy to the dogs, or put your jewels before pigs. That is to say, the core contents would not be told directly. However, as long as we have a deep understanding of his words, we can comprehend their meanings. The book of Matthew tells us what Jesus wants us to know about marrying and starting families. Matthew 10 verse 35. Jesus said, "I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I have come to turn men against their fathers, daughters against their mothers, and daughters-in-law against their mothers-in-law. People's foes shall be from within their own households. Anyone who loves their father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and anyone who loves their son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me." Matthew 12 verse 50. Jesus said, "For whoever does the pleasure of my Father in heaven, they are my brother and sister and mother." Matthew 19:9, 19:11. Jesus said, "I tell you that any man who divorces his wife except for marital unfaithfulness and marries another woman commits adultery." The disciples asked, "If this is the situation between husbands and wives, then is it best not to marry?" And Jesus said, "Not everyone can accept this word, but only those to whom it has been given. The ones who can accept this should accept it." Here, Jesus came very close to explaining that clearly. The disciples asked, "Best not to marry?" And Jesus encouraged the unmarried lifestyle. Not everyone can accept this word, but only those to whom it has been given. What was this word? It was not to marry. Therefore, not to marry is something that has been given. Only those to whom it has been given could understand the meaning of not to marry, but others could neither understand nor accept it. Matthew 19 verse 29. Therefore, Jesus Christ stressed further, "And everyone who has given up houses, or brothers, or sisters, or father, or mother, or child, or land for my name will be given 100 times as much and have eternal life. Life genuine advocates that people not marry, break up nuclear families, and hope that married couples will become Chanyuan celestials together so they can end their marriage bonds as implemented in accordance with the teachings of Jesus Christ. The profound meaning of not to marry and start a family is for letting people enter the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 22, verse 30. Jesus told us clearly, "For when they come back from the dead, there will be no husbands or wives, but they will be as the angels in heaven." This further indicates that those who enter into the kingdom of heaven have not married, and that those who have married cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven. Why? Can those who marry not enter the kingdom of heaven? The answer is, no, they cannot, and the reasons can be found in Life Genuine, Chanyuan Corpus, and Siefeng Corpus. That is it. I have given a further explanation, but whether you can understand it or not is up to your own considering and judging. Therefore, what Siefeng says does not go against the teachings of Jesus Christ, but carries out Jesus' teachings faithfully. Christians all over the world, do you understand? Do you deserve to be Christians when you are obsessed with marrying and loving your families? Do not shout, "Lord, Lord." Jesus will not hear you.
进入新时代需要转换的意识。
The new consciousness for the new era. Siefeng. Those who wish to be a part of the new era of Life Genuine must realize and accept these 18 requirements. Abandon atheism and the theory of evolution and accept the reality of the greatest creator and follow the way of the greatest creator. Abandon the concepts of ego, family, religion, political party, and state, and form the consciousness of global citizens. Shift from the belief that reality creates consciousness to the belief that consciousness creates reality. Repudiate the God of the Old Testament of the Bible and establish the new idea of the greatest creator. Negate the view of fortuity and establish the view of inevitability. Shift from the view of disorder to that of causality. Accept the existence of different levels of life besides that which we see on the earth. Accept that life consists of a material entity and a spiritual one. Accept that death is not the end of life, but only the beginning of a new journey of life. Accept the reality of the existence of heaven and hell. Understand that there is no ultimate judgment, but that judgment is ongoing and universal. Understand that our futures are determined by us and shaped by our own hands. Understand that whether one has a good future or a bad one depends on whether their non-material structure is perfect or deficient. Abandon personal heroism and elite consciousness and lower oneself to the humblest of position. Understand that what one reaps, so shall they sow, and that we need to contribute more but ask for less in return to accumulate our merits and virtues and to sublimate our quality of life. Understand that only by embracing sincerity, kindness, and virtue can we perfect our own structures of life, completely abandon attack and revenge attitudes, and treat everything kindly. Master the principle of the Mobius net, unify opposites, and give up one's criticisms of the world. Understand that life has an infinite future, and only those who pursue the highest realm of life can have the most splendid future. It is only in this way that we can enter the new era.
国家必将消失，国家正在消亡。
States are bound to disappear, and they are doing so. Siefeng. February 9th, 2018. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. As Zhejiang predicted in his Divination Before Saddled Horses, the talented will be put to good use, and the whole world will be one family, is the general trend of human social development as marriages and families, states, political parties, and religions are becoming decadent. This is a law of the evolution of society that cannot be stopped. Today, artificial intelligence is growing. a black swan which is flying high. The world is rapidly moving toward a new pattern. All the efforts to maintain those marriages and families, states, political parties, and religions are not only fatuous, but even futile. In 2002, I predicted that marriages and families would disappear. That marriages and families, just like foot binding for girls which was popular in the Southern Song dynasty, would be regarded as symbols of backwardness and fatuity. Today, the rise of the global divorce rate and the rapid increase in the percentage of single people prove that my prediction is becoming a reality. Looking back upon marriages and families from 20 or 30 years hence, people will see them as ridiculous as foot bindings for girls. Marriages and families are the same as states. The present states are equivalent to primitive tribes. Those tribes have died out, and so will states. This must happen because the existence of states seriously restricts the development of the productive forces and the leap of human civilization. Even more horrible is that states are the chief criminal agents which cause military conflicts, overconsumption of resources, purging of human rights, and the destruction of the ecology. All states are actually jails which keep their people in perpetual bondage in their names. It is right to love one's hometown and one's motherland, but wrong to love their state. Places have emotional ties, but states are violent machines. The bankruptcy of states will be disastrous for those in power, but glad tidings and welfare for their nationals. Let us use China as an example to show this. At present, who would think that the extinction of what used to be states but are now provinces was not a good thing? It is precisely because of the extinction of those states that there is a unified China today. Is this not a good thing for the people? At least we do not need visas, nor to deal with customs agents to travel throughout China. How great! If China were again divided into Qi, Chu, Yin, Han, Zhao, Wei, Qin, even add Xixia, Dali, Inner Mongolia, Xinjiang, Tibet, and Manchuria, we would not be able to travel freely between those provinces. How do you feel? It would absolutely not be a good thing for the people. So we can imagine that if there were no states in the world today, and that if all states disappeared, the people would be able to flow freely throughout the world. What a great thing that would be for ordinary people. Therefore, all states are morally bankrupt, and they must all disappear. How can all states be bankrupt and disappear? Facebook has nearly 2 billion users. It has actually become a great invisible power. Mark Zuckerberg has a great plan to build a global community, actually a global government, and as more and more citizens of the Earth join Facebook, the existing states will gradually exist in name only. On February 7, 2018, the private American company, SpaceX launched a super heavy-duty carrier rocket, Falcon Heavy, far beyond all the satellites in orbit. Their power to launch rockets far exceeds those of Russia, the United States, and China. This shows that if thousands of private enterprises like SpaceX were to appear, then these private enterprises could completely solve all the problems of the world and the existence of the state would be totally unnecessary. In South Africa, Michael Tellinger launched the Ubuntu movement. As this movement becomes more and more popular and is implemented more widely, the existence of the state will become less and less necessary. Someone proposed that the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand should form a federal republic. Would that not be great? I believe that the vast majority of citizens within those 4 countries would cheer. The more quickly that such proposals come into being, the sooner that states will disappear. If the European Union, the African Union, and South America were to unify, then most states would exist in name only. There are thousands of spiritual, ecological consensus communities in the world and their numbers are growing. These communities have been created to solve the problems of food, clothing, shelter, transportation, birth, aging, illness, death, and life sublimation on their own, and none of them are willing to be controlled by any government. With the establishment and development of more and more communities, who will still need huge administrative expenses to bully people, who would want the government to control people and tell them when to urinate and when to defecate. In 2009, I predicted that great disasters around 2013 would not happen. Instead, there would be stepwise, reciprocating, and more serious natural climatic changes. The natural climatic changes over the past 9 years have proven my prediction to be accurate. In the prologue of the third edition of 800 Values for New Era Human Being, I said, a new era for humanity will begin on New Year's Day of 2018, and it will last for a millennium. The first 30 years will be a time for soul purification and the elimination of outdated consciousnesses. A large-scale soul purification will be necessary for humanity. Those consciousnesses which are not suitable for the needs of the new era will be eliminated. The following 10 years will be a transitional period. The traditional production and life modes will be replaced by new models. After that, humanity will enter a harmonious era when all religions will unite as one. Favorable weather will prevail throughout the year, and everyone will enjoy happy, joyous, free, and blessed lives. This new era will last till the end of the year 3017. In other words, from January 1st, 2018 through the succeeding 20 years, and especially through the first 10 years, unimaginable climatic changes will take place. Refugees from these changes will be countless, and the problems of dealing with the refugee crisis will become more and more difficult. From 2028 to 2038, people will have to compete for survival resources. Their struggles will be unrestrained, impossible to suppress, and extremely cruel. The first 10 years will produce continuous natural disasters, and the succeeding 10 years will be filled with many human misfortunes. This will calm down in 2048 because the population on the Earth will have become much smaller and a stateless world will have been born. Artificial intelligence is evolving in geometric progression. The AlphaGo robot has defeated human beings in many thought experiments. People will still be people after 10 years, but by that time, AlphaGo will have evolved into a super biological robot. Comparing those super biological robots' intelligence to that of today's biological robots would be like comparing human intelligence to that of primitive, four-legged mammals. Professor Kaplan of Stanford University has come up with these statistics. 47% of 720 jobs considered in the United States will be replaced by artificial intelligence. In China, this proportion may exceed 70%. 10 years later, when super biological robots begin to take over the world, states will undoubtedly be swept into history museums. Everything is advancing too rapidly in this era to predict what will happen next. Maybe black swans will fly as we wake up someday, and the world will have changed into something unimaginable, something that we are at a total loss for. By then, such things as states are bound to have vanished completely. In the face of the state, how does every citizen treat it? Do not work hard for your countries because all of those efforts will be in vain. Do not regard yourselves as American, Japanese, or Vietnamese anymore, but think of yourselves as citizens of the earth. Imagining that your state does not exist and consider how you will survive without it, now. Affairs of the family, the state, and the earth are inconsequential. What really matters is your survival. Do not waste precious time listening to the lies and constant haranguing emitted by your governments and their apologists. Governments are not reliable at all. They can never be relied upon. It is no better to rely on a government than to rely on pigs. It is more useful to raise pigs than to raise a government. Join Facebook, the Ubuntu movement, an ecological community, a super private enterprise, a civilized and powerful state, or any crowd that cannot be destroyed by super biological robots. Do not wait until tomorrow, do it today. Escape from unfair societies with scarce resources and dense populations where morals have degenerated as soon as possible. At all times, be vigilant and be alert. Be anchored against the wind, dig deep holes, accumulate grain extensively, and find your way out. Please say good words as much as you can. Hundun Celestial. December 11th, 2006. Translated by Tong Xin and edited by Kair. The ancient said, just as bitter medicine cures sickness, so unpalatable advice benefits conduct. This is half right. The other half should be, the favorable weather benefits the growth of grains, so good and sweet words benefit the affections. Life Genuine implements the latter half. Nobody is perfect and flawless. Life is short, so why aim at each other's flaws? Everyone has their unique advantages and shining characteristics, and everyone has their bright spots that are worthy of being appreciated. If we point to other people's flaws, those flaws will be enlarged. But if we appreciate other people's advantages, then their advantages will be enlarged. In order to make people happy and joyful, I advocate being blind to other people's flaws, but to appreciate their bright spots instead. If we continue doing so for a long time, everyone will become kind and merciful, will have glorious hearts, and will be grateful and reasonable. Therefore, in Life Genuine, please say good words as much as you can. As long as you do not mean to hurt people, you may say whatever you want. Humorous words, lively words, and wise words are all welcome, and as long as you can make others feel happy and pleasant, you will have earned merit. Life is not easy. So many troubles and worries torture people and steal their smiles. So why add frost on snow and make it worse when we get together? Without us, the earth would still rotate normally and other people would still live without any problems. So why should you make others unhappy? I oppose being picky and nibbling, and I oppose wrangling and arguing or teaching others wisdom I have gained, as if I am telling myself. I will not dare to do this in the future, and I will correct this whenever I can. In all situations, if we have reasons, we state them, but we do not suggest that other people are unreasonable. Life Genuine is the homeland for spirits and souls. To create a warm and harmonious atmosphere is our ideal and our expectation. The relationships among Chanyuan Celestials are the relationships of brothers and sisters, and relatives and lovers. We care and love each other, encourage and appreciate each other. We need to grow with encouragement and praise, but not hurt with arguments and criticism. Dear guests, please understand that this is Life Genuine. We will spread such style to every corner of the world and create the Life Genuine era by following the principle of the favorable weather benefits the growth of grains, so good and sweet words benefit the affections. Therefore, if you are picky when you enter Life Genuine and say this is not good or that is unsuitable, then you are surely not welcome here. The world is big, so please be merciful and allow us to cultivate our own small fields in our own way. Say good words as much as you can, and just keep those picky and critical words to yourself.
乾坤颠倒，仙女为尊，禅院新理念。
The reversal of heaven and earth, respect for women. New value of Chanyuan. Xiefeng. The heaven is superior and the earth is inferior. Man is superior and woman is inferior. This is what is preached in Confucian theories. Confucius is an ancient saint in China and traditional moral ethics. This concept is reversed in Life Genuine. Namely, men are green leaves and women are flower petals. In heaven and on earth, women are superior. The reasons are as follows. The source is superior. The source of life is the greatest creator. In the universe, the greatest creator is supreme. Women are superior. The greatest creator has created life, which then propagate by itself, mainly through female. So women are superior. Mother is respectable. After 10 months of gestation, life comes from the mother. So mother should be respected and women should be superior. Sisters and daughters are all women. We should protect sisters and daughters, so women are superior. Women are not as strong as men and are vulnerable to harm. So for the equality and balance, women should be respected. The spirit of the valley never dies. It is called the mystic female. The door of the mystic female is the root of heaven and earth. Xianpin, mystic female, is the female reproductive organ, the root of heaven, which should be revered. So women are superior. Buddha is gender, gender is Buddha, the gate of gender is the gate of Buddhas. Only women have the gate of gender. So when we respect Buddhas, we should also respect female. Women are soft and quiet. They love peace and gentleness. They are merciful and kind in nature. they are broad-minded and thus should be respected. In Life Genuine, considerations should be given first to fairies. Fairies are lotus flowers and fairies are green leaves to protect the flowers. Men should not contend with women. Men should be brave to sacrifice for women. Point 3. Only women can sexually harass men. Men are not permitted to do so. For die in the face of danger, men should go forward to face the danger and place women behind for protection. 5. Women take precedence over men in the matter of enjoyment. 6. Men shall take initiative in doing heavy and dirty and tiring tasks, while light, skilled and clean work shall be reserved for women. 7. Men are not permitted to humiliate, desecrate, abuse, beat, maltreat, persecute, scorn, and deride women. 8. Men are not permitted to limit women's freedom of person, spirit, and soul in the name of love. This idea is debatable around the broad masses. Anyone who disagrees to it can put forward solid evidences and theories. Only a simple expression of complaint is not enough. January 10, 2011.
人类遏制气候恶化的唯一途径。
The only way to restrain climate deterioration. Xiefeng. November 19, 2018. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. Can the Kyoto Protocol or the Paris Agreement restrain climatic deterioration? It is an unrealistic and completely impossible joke to think so. And those projects to restrain global warming from some countries are even less possible. The core factor in climatic degradation is not carbon emissions and the pollution of land, air, and water, nor is it a matter of cattle and sheep digesting and producing methane gas, but rather, it is one of the human soul. Your state of consciousness determines your living environment, and the overall reality is a projection of humanity's consciousness. Without changes of human consciousness and the purification of people's souls, it will be absolutely impossible to reverse the deterioration of our climate and our environment. This is an issue that can be resolved very easily. So what data analyses, computer simulations, and dedicated researches are needed? Will it be necessary for the United Nations to organize international conferences and meetings to discuss and formulate programs repeatedly? Our environmental problem is one of people's souls, and the first thing necessary is to reverse and to purify them, but this cannot be accomplished by the UN or by any state or states, but only by everyone involving and purifying their own souls individually. This purification of human souls must be carried out from theoretical directions and with new orders of construction, both at the same time. As for theoretical guidance, I have offered a plan to prepare everyone, but they need to learn from me and abide by me. The order of construction is to replace the traditional production and life modes of society with a new one according to the model of the new oasis for life as created by Life Genuine. This is the only way to reverse the deterioration of our environment. Honestly, though, it is too late to take action even if society were to begin immediately. I have shouted and appealed for at least the last decade, but instead of listening, most have wrecked the theories and practical demonstrations of Life Genuine. What can be done now is not to restrain climatic and environmental degradation, but to save a small group of people as seeds for human continuation, or extinction will be our destiny. The crisis is here and now. If people still remain completely indifferent, then disasters such as the fires near Paradise Town in California, USA will recur frequently. Remember, no place in the world is safe. Where there are no fires, rivers might flood. Where there are no droughts, violent storms might blow. Where there are no earthquakes, volcanoes might erupt. And where there are no plagues, intensely hot summers or bitterly cold winters might become normal. This does not even address the eventualities of massive theft, murders, and wars. In short, there is no way to escape from these disasters. Those who want to live must follow my guidance. I am the messenger of the greatest creator, the incarnation of God, Buddha, celestials, sages, and saints, and the greatest spiritual guide of our time. Please do not hoard what you possess, but dedicate your wealth so that we can build our new mode of production and life on Earth as soon as possible. Do not be short-sighted and accuse me of wanting to accumulate wealth by taking yours. I want nothing from you, but you need to use your wealth to save yourself. I hope that the UN will cooperate with us. There are many places on Earth which are disputed between nations and tribes, but can be administered by them. So let us build new modes of production and life in these disputed places as soon as possible so that we can have kindling materials for the continuation of our species. It will not matter if people continue to turn deaf ears and use their small minds to deny my warnings and assumptions because they will learn the truth, but it will be too late by then. Have foresight and take action now. November 19th, 2018.
共产主义在这里已全面实现。
Communism has been fully realized here. Xiefeng. The pursuit of an ideal society has been an everlasting ideological subject for sages and saints of mankind. The establishment of an ideal society has always been a direction and goal aspired by great politicians. Mankind has never stopped its exploration and pursuit of an ideal society, from the ideal of great harmony practiced by China's sage Confucius, to the ideal of republic advocated by ancient Greek philosopher Plato, to utopia proposed by Thomas More of England, to utopian socialism of Saint Simon and Fourier, to communism founded by Marx in Germany. There have been various attempts to establish an ideal society, from New Harmony Village created in Indiana of America by Robert Owen of England, to collective farms launched by Stalin of Russia, to People's Commune established by Mao Zedong in China, to Mountain Shore Village in Japan, and to kibbutz in Israel. Actually, Kingdom of God, described by Jesus Christ in the Bible, the Elysium world mentioned by Buddha in Buddha's Sutra, the Society of Harmony portrayed by Lao Tzu and Tao Te Ching are all ideal societies. Now we can say that one common goal, namely the highest ideal of life mankind can achieve, has been described and pursued by great harmony, republic, utopia, ideal land, harmonious society, communism, the kingdom of God, and the Elysium world. The highest ideal society pursued by mankind must have the following 18 characteristics. Public ownership is the prevailing way under Tao. There is no private ownership, all properties are shared. There is no marriage, no family, no political party, no religion, no state, no organization of any form. There is no currency. The talented are put to good use, and the whole world will be one family. No one will pocket anything found on the road, and doors will not be bolted at night. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need. Recommend and assign the talented to important tasks, advocate good faith and harmony. The old are taken care of, the strong are put to good use, and the widowed, orphaned, sick and handicapped are well provided. All members have meals at public dining halls. Normally the work hours will be limited within 6 hours per day. Rich and plentiful material wealth without extravagance and waste. Extremely harmonious social relations and high spiritual realm. Rich and colorful cultural entertainment and games. Everyone develops freely in an all-round manner. Everyone brings his or her talent into full play. All things are put to good use. Everyone has a joyful, happy, free, and blessed life. Everyone is in the service of the others, and no one owes anyone anything. The environment is clean, tidy, elegant, and serene, like an earthly paradise. It can be said that the above 18 conditions have been basically realized in the life of the second home created by Life Chanuan. In another word, communism has been fully implemented in the second home, or it may be said, the kingdom of the greatest creator has descended upon the earth. As the founder of communism Marx has said, without belief in God, the greatest creator, and without identity with Christ, mankind cannot possess truly perfect virtue to pursue truth and light. Only God, the greatest creator, can save us. The facts have proved this to be true. The complete realization of mankind's ideal society in the sea and home of life genuine is the very fruit of our reverence for the greatest creator and our observance of the way of the greatest creator. Of course, we have another secret. That is, we have imitated and copied the life and production model of the thousand-year world of the heavenly kingdom. Today, I hereby proclaim to the whole mankind, communism has been realized in the second home, and the kingdom of the greatest creator has descended upon the earth. August 24th, 2011.
人类错失了一次良机。
Humanity has missed a great chance. Xiefeng. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. If you have been keeping up with global climate change and the dynamics of our political state, you must feel that the crisis is getting worse and worse. Tomorrow or death. It is sometimes difficult to predict which will come first as you retire for the evening. On October 18th of this year, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, of the United Nations released a report in Incheon, South Korea, IPCC global warming of 1.5 degrees Celsius, which says that global warming must not be allowed to exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius or mankind will succumb to an extremely pitiful doomsday by the year 2040. Can we keep global warming under 1.5 degrees Celsius? It is out of control, a dream. 2040 is only 22 years away. Attention, please. If the end comes in 22 years, then for many people, next year, or perhaps even tomorrow will be the end of their time, and they might not even see tomorrow's sunrise. This is not a bluff or prophecy from some historical prophets or the ravings of spirits and deities about fortunes and disasters, but the conclusion drawn by experts from more than 40 countries who have accumulated more than 6,000 pieces of data. In fact, I personally warned people clearly in early April 2009 that the so-called apocalypse of 2012 would not happen but would be replaced in a gradual, reciprocating, and increasingly serious way. Almost a decade has passed, so let us find out how precisely the climate changes over the last decade have conformed to my predictions. In addition, at the end of 2017, I warned humanity once again that from 2018 on, the Earth would enter a new era and that dramatic changes would take place during the first 3 decades. You can look back at the climate changes of 2018. Can you sense the smell of the coming storm? From now on, the changes will get worse and worse until the extremely pitiful doomsday happens. Actually, if people had followed my guidance 10 years ago, then they would have avoided their current suffering, but they missed their great chance. How do I know all this? Because I am the messenger of the greatest creator, the incarnation of the God, Buddha, celestial beings, and saints. It does not matter if you think that I am bluffing and that my purpose is to deceive you and gain money or carnal pleasure. That is your right and freedom. However, people with spirituality know the truth, and it is not hard for rational people to understand what I have said and written for more than the last decade and draw their own conclusions. Now, it is unnecessary to repeat what I warned of in the past. All epoch-making theories and practices are relegated to history. If I had merely pointed out the problem but had not offered any solution to it, then I would be unworthy of the title of messenger and incarnation. The problem is that I showed the way to solve the crisis and even created a model, but if people either did not believe me or simply ignored me, then it is not my problem, but theirs. It can be said that the greatest creator, through his messengers, has warned mankind and shown them the way forward. Gods, Buddha, celestial beings, and saints through their incarnations have done their best, and no matter how humanity will suffer, no one can blame them for neither helping you nor saving you. The United Nations has met many times to formulate plans and appeals to try to solve the problem of climate change. The most famous of those was the Paris Agreement. As I said in my article, all the efforts of the UN could not accomplish enough. This is because the root of climate change lies in mankind's traditional production and life mode. In order to stop climate change, we must change that production and life mode. Any other measures and methods are futile. Of course, the final end can be delayed for several years, but it cannot solve the root problem. So how do we change the traditional production and life mode of mankind? With my guidance, angel-like Chanyun Celestials have established a model for humanity, the new oasis of life, formerly the second home model. From this model, we have a wealth of written reports, pictures, illustrations, and video presentations. In this regard, however, the United Nations, governments of major countries, experts and scholars, and billions of myopic people have been completely indifferent. So, if 2040 becomes the extremely pitiful doomsday, can we not say that mankind deserves it? Is mankind not beyond redemption? It is too late to reverse climate change now, regardless of what efforts are made. However, mankind will not die out. People will still multiply on the earth, and within another 40 years, they will usher in a brilliant era and live happier lives than have never existed before. Unfortunately, though, not many people who are alive today will survive to that time, and whether you will be one of them will depend completely upon your fortune, but even those who have fluky luck might not survive unharmed. Causality is everything. We must rely on the laws and rules of nature. Divine punishments, though slow, are always sure, with big meshes, yet letting nothing slip through. It is customary for executioners to offer condemned prisoners one final good meal before they put them to death, so all of you should just enjoy your meals and have fun, day by day, every day.
生命禅院创始人雪峰再次自白。
The second confession of Xuefeng, the founder of Life Chanyuan. Xuefeng. Xuefeng is not any kind of god, Buddha, or celestial being. He was not sent to Earth by higher-level life beings. He is very down-to-earth instead. Xuefeng doesn't have any supernatural power and never has shown any as well. Xuefeng has told his personal story very clearly. He was born in a poor family near the Yellow River, Gansu Province, China. He also have told his history clearly to all Chanyuan Celestials, and he doesn't have anything mysterious to hide. Xuefeng doesn't have a master. What he said or wrote are all what he learned from life experience. Xuefeng doesn't have any political background, nor does he have any political or other kind of organization as his support. Xuefeng is not the spokesman of the greatest creator as some people think wishfully. He has never said that he was the spokesman. Xuefeng is not any kind of savior, as some people think wishfully, and has never said that and accepted that title. Xuefeng is not a master, and against people call him master. Xuefeng claimed himself a tour guide, and said more than once that he doesn't have the goodness what a master possesses. Xuefeng call himself the messenger of the greatest creator, the embodiment of Jesus Christ, Buddha Sakyamuni, Lao Tzu, and the Prophet Muhammad. The reason is that he has written an 100,000 Chinese word chapter called The Greatest Creator. He thinks it is the most comprehensive and profound description about the greatest creator. Although so, he has never given orders in the name of the messenger of the greatest creator. He has very insightful understanding of Jesus Christ, Buddha Sakyamuni, Lao Tzu, and the Prophet Muhammad, and resonates with their thoughts and wills. That is why he calls himself the embodiment. As for Xuefeng said that he is from the heaven, 10,000-year world, that is the truth. If people don't understand and have nowhere to verify it, it is up to them to think Xuefeng is talking nonsense. March 24, 2011.
我与武汉冠状病毒的对话。
My conversation with Wuhan coronavirus. Xiefeng. January 24, 2020. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. Xiefeng. Hello, Wuhan coronavirus. Where do you come from and what is your name? Coronavirus. We are plague God 008, and we have been lurking within people for many millennia. Xiefeng. Why have you emerged now? Plague God 008. Because the conditions for our emergence have been met. Xiefeng. What do you mean? What are these conditions? Plague God 008. Just as when a person does not bathe or change clothes for a long time, lice will emerge because the conditions for the emergence of lice become ripe. Xiefeng, I am still confused. Are you lurking within humans' bodies? Plague God 008. Yes, we have been and we are. Xiefeng, so, you were not passed on from animals such as bats, snakes, or Paguma larvata to people. Plague God 008. Of course not. We awakened from within people's bodies. Xiefeng, since you have been lurking in people's bodies for so long, why have you only appeared now, but never before? Plague God 008. The conditions for our emergence had never been ripe before. Xiefeng, what conditions for your emergence have ripened? Plague God 008. Qi. We will emerge naturally as long as these 8 qi exist. Strong enough stench qi. Bitter enough hatred qi. Violent enough temper qi. Scary enough nerve qi. Evil enough heart qi. Dense enough lung qi. Weak enough kidney qi. Feeble enough liver qi. Xiefeng, so, when someone has what you call the 8 qi, you will appear in their body? Plague God 008. Yes. Xiefeng, so no viral transmission occurs? Plague God 008. Transmission is only how we awaken. Once this happens, we attempt to awaken others who lurk within other people's bodies. Whether they can be awakened or not depends on those 8 qi and people within whom they had lurked sufficiently to meet our conditions. Xiefeng, so, many people will not be infected even if they are in contaminated areas? Plague God 008. Correct. Most teenagers have strong nerve qi, sturdy kidney qi, clear lung qi, and are not infected easily, but many middle-aged and older people have thick stench qi, strong hatred qi, weak kidney qi, dense lung qi, feeble nerve qi, and are infected easily. Xiefeng, how do you transmit, as you said, to awaken within others? Plague God 008. Through information. Xiefeng, I do not understand this. Could you explain it more clearly? Plague God 008. We do not enter into people's bodies through their mouths or wounds, but through their eyes and ears. Xiefeng, now I am even more confused. How can you enter people's bodies through their eyes and ears? Plague God 008. When phenomena are witnessed by one's eyes or messages are heard by their ears, then we actually enter into the recipient's minds and awaken. Xiefeng, if this is so, then is the reason that people are infected by viruses not because pathogens have entered into their bodies, but because those that have lurked within their bodies have awakened after their carriers see infected people's situations and hear the information about the viral transmissions? Plague God 008. Yes, so those who see the so-called patients, such as doctors, relatives, and friends, become susceptible to infection, as do those who hear about the disease, and the more and clearer the information that they get is, the more their chances become of succumbing to us. Xiefeng, these unheard-of ways of transmission are incredible. Plague God 008. People can be scared to death, but how? The more panic and fear they have, and the more confused they become, the easier it is for us to sneak in. Fear is one of the most effective ways for us to control people. Xiefeng, so people who are not afraid of you are not easily infected? Plague God 008. Of those who possess pure minds and stick to the one at absolute peace, being unselfish and free from ego, full of joy and happiness, we are powerless. Xiefeng, will no medicine work on you? Plague God 008. We are invisible, odorless, colorless, and tasteless. What medicine would you use? Material medicines will not work against us. but non-material medicines can play a role. Xiefeng, I see. Thanks for telling me so frankly. How long will you stay? Plague God 008. It is not for us to decide. If the stench chi is strong, then we might grow and persevere. If it fades away, then who is to stay? Therefore, we might stay for only 3 months and be gone, or we might stay for 3 years. That depends on people's 8 chi. For instance, if people's hatred chi declines, we will be unable to stay. Xiefeng, one more question. Why are you called Plague God 008? Plague God 008. There is no doubt that we are gods. As for 008, this is because there are also plague gods 009, 010, 011, 012, and many others. Humans call 009 pestilence, 010 is smallpox, 011 is flu, and on through the list. Xiefeng, who are plague gods 007, 006, 005, and so on? Plague God 008. Those plague gods are much fiercer than we are but have not awakened yet. They will rise when their conditions ripen. Xiefeng, are you the SARS virus which came in 2003? Plague God 008. Yes, we changed our structure slightly so that more of us could awaken. People will have trouble recognizing us after our structures change, and we are not in a hurry to awake more versions of us. We will do it quietly so that it will be impossible for anyone to defend against us effectively. Xiefeng, it is said that your birthplace, Wuhan City, has been sealed off so that you cannot get spread out. Will it not be difficult for you to wake the rest of you up in the rest of the world? Plague God 008. There is no way to seal us off. We are invisible. So isolation is only people's self-paralysis and self-anesthesia. Our emergence is concerned with people's 8 chi, not about regions or the sizes of population centers. Xiefeng, I suppose that you resent or even envy the large population on the earth, so you have come to reduce it. Plague God 008. We abide by our laws strictly, do not have any moods, and have nothing to do with big or small population centers on Earth. We may emerge in many people or few people, however it is easier to spread the 8 chi and induce the conditions for our emergence in places where many people gather. Xiefeng, I want to know why you chose to emerge in Wuhan, a transportation hub through which so many people travel back and forth, especially just before and after the Chinese Spring Festival when a large number of people pass through it. This seems to be a deliberate attempt to maximize your devastation. Plague God 008. Do not blame us unjustly, we never did that on purpose. For us, the proper conditions are the only factors that will bring us forth. As for matters of the earth, humans, or China, they are not our concern. Xiefeng, is this a coincidence? A random event? But there are no chances or coincidences in the universe. Everything is inevitable. Plague God 008. We have no idea. You will have to ask the higher gods.
我与武汉冠状病毒的对话。
My conversation with Wuhan coronavirus. Xiefeng, January 24th, 2020. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. Xiefeng, hello, Wuhan coronavirus. Where do you come from and what is your name? Coronavirus. We are Plague God 008, and we have been lurking within people for many millennia. Xiefeng, why have you emerged now? Plague God 008. Because the conditions for our emergence have been met. Xiefeng, what do you mean? What are these conditions? Plague God 008. Just as when a person does not bathe or change clothes for a long time, lice will emerge because the conditions for the emergence of lice become ripe. Xiefeng, I am still confused. Are you lurking within humans' bodies? Plague God 008. Yes, we have been and we are. Xiefeng, so, you were not passed on from animals such as bats, snakes, or Pagoma larvata to people. Plague God 008. Of course not. We awakened from within people's bodies. Xiefeng, Since you have been lurking in people's bodies for so long, why have you only appeared now, but never before? Plague God 008. The conditions for our emergence had never been right before. Xiefeng, what conditions for your emergence have ripened? Plague God 008. Qi. We will emerge naturally as long as these 8 qi exist. Strong enough stench qi. Bitter enough hatred qi. Violent enough temper qi. Scary enough nerve qi. Evil enough heart qi. Dense enough lung qi. Weak enough kidney qi. Feeble enough liver qi. Xiefeng. So, when someone has what you call the 8 qi, you will appear in their body? Plague God 008. Yes. Xiefeng. So no viral transmission occurs? Plague God 008. Transmission is only how we awaken. Once this happens, we attempt to awaken others who lurk within other people's bodies. Whether they can be awakened or not depends on those 8 qi and people within whom they had lurked sufficiently to meet our conditions. Xiefeng. So, many people will not be infected even if they are in contaminated areas? Plague God 008. Correct. Most teenagers have strong nerve qi, sturdy kidney qi, clear lung qi, and are not infected easily, but many middle-aged and older people have thick stench qi, strong hatred qi, weak kidney qi, dense lung qi, feeble nerve qi, and are infected easily. Xiefeng, how do you transmit, as you said, to awaken within others? Plague God 008. Through information. Xiefeng, I do not understand this. Could you explain it more clearly? Plague God 008. We do not enter into people's bodies through their mouths or wounds, but through their eyes and ears. Xiefeng, now I am even more confused. How can you enter people's bodies through their eyes and ears? Plague God 008. When phenomena are witnessed by one's eyes or messages are heard by their ears, then we actually enter into the recipient's minds and awaken. Xiefeng, if this is so, then is the reason that people are infected by viruses not because pathogens have entered into their bodies, but because those that have lurked within their bodies have awakened after their carriers see infected people's situations and hear the information about the viral transmissions? Plague God 008. Yes, so those who see the so-called patients, such as doctors, relatives, and friends, become susceptible to infection, as do those who hear about the disease, and the more and clearer the information that they get is, the more their chances become of succumbing to us. Xiefeng, these unheard-of ways of transmission are incredible. Plague God 008. People can be scared to death, but how? The more panic and fear they have, and the more confused they become, the easier it is for us to sneak in. Fear is one of the most effective ways for us to control people. Xiefeng, so people who are not afraid of you are not easily infected? Plague God 008. Of those who possess pure minds and stick to the one at absolute peace, being unselfish and free from ego, full of joy and happiness, we are powerless. Xiefeng, will no medicine work on you? Plague God 008. We are invisible, odorless, colorless, and tasteless. What medicine would you use? Material medicines will not work against us, but non-material medicines can play a role. Xiefeng, I see. Thanks for telling me so frankly. How long will you stay? Plague God 008. It is not for us to decide. If the stench qi is strong, then we might grow and persevere. If it fades away, then who is to stay? Therefore, we might stay for only 3 months and be gone, or we might stay for 3 years. That depends on people's 8 qi. For instance, if people's hatred qi declines, we will be unable to stay. Xiefeng, one more question. Why are you called Plague God 008? Plague God 008. There is no doubt that we are gods. As for 008, this is because there are also Plague Gods 009, 010, 011, 012, and many others. Humans call 009 pestilence, 010 is smallpox, 011 is flu, and on through the list. Xiefeng, who are Plague Gods 007, 006, 005, and so on? Plague God 008. Those plague gods are much fiercer than we are but have not awakened yet. They will rise when their conditions ripen. Xiefeng, Are you the SARS virus which came in 2003? Plague God 008. Yes, we changed our structure slightly so that more of us could awaken. People will have trouble recognizing us after our structures change, and we are not in a hurry to awake more versions of us. We will do it quietly so that it will be impossible for anyone to defend against us effectively. Xiefeng, it is said that your birthplace, Wuhan City, has been sealed off so that you cannot get spread out. Will it not be difficult for you to wake the rest of you up in the rest of the world? Plague God 008. There is no way to seal us off. We are invisible. So isolation is only people's self-paralysis and self-anesthesia. Our emergence is concerned with people's 8 qi, not about regions or the sizes of population centers. Xiefeng, I suppose that you resent or even envy the large population on the earth, so you have come to reduce it. Plague God 008. We abide by our laws strictly, do not have any moods, and have nothing to do with big or small population centers on Earth. We may emerge in many people or few people, however it is easier to spread the 8 qi and induce the conditions for our emergence in places where many people gather. Xiefeng, I want to know why you chose to emerge in Wuhan, a transportation hub through which so many people travel back and forth, especially just before and after the Chinese Spring Festival when a large number of people pass through it. This seems to be a deliberate attempt to maximize your devastation. Plague God 008. Do not blame us unjustly, we never did that on purpose. For us, the proper conditions are the only factors that will bring us forth. As for matters of the earth, humans, or China, they are not our concern. Xiefeng, is this a coincidence? A random event? But there are no chances or coincidences in the universe. Everything is inevitable. Plague God 008. We have no idea. You will have to ask the higher gods.
上帝使者再次警示人类。
Another warning to mankind from the messenger of the greatest creator, Dayform Buddha. January 1st, 2020. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. More than 2,500 years ago, a messenger from the greatest creator warned mankind about today's situation. Today, I have come to fulfill those ancient warnings. Floods, fires, wars, plagues, unrest, earthquakes, and other disasters which began in 2009 will continue to play their roles from the warnings which had been given to you a long time ago. Those people whose souls and hearts show only darkness, who pursue material pleasures, who fail to keep their faith, and who are selfish and egotistical, will reap all that they have sown. Let me lead those of you who still have rays of light in your souls onto a brighter path. Take the way of the greatest creator, not the ways of mankind, gods, Buddha, celestial beings, or demons. Revere the greatest creator, not your worldly leaders. Read the books without words, not the ones written by man. Forget all religions, for they have all become corrupted. None of them retain any truth any longer. Escape from marriages and families. They will lower you down to hell, not raise you up to heaven. Stop pursuing material pleasures. They will devour your spirits and souls and drag you into darkness. Pursue wealth of spirit and soul to the greatest extent. Only they can make your souls healthy and pure and lead you to heaven. Woe unto those people who possess great material wealth, for their sins are great, and their misfortunes will never come singularly. Woe unto those people with great power, for they oppress the good, deceive the public, force the pure into prostitution, compel the honest to become thieves, and they will shirk responsibility for their transgressions hardly. Woe unto those people who break their promises, for they are lawless, possess neither virtue nor wisdom, disregard nature's laws, and create unlimited strife and suffering. As divine punishments are always sure, they will not escape theirs. Woe unto selfish and egoistical people, for they are heartless, ignore laws and rules, and destroy nature. They will face painful consequences. Woe unto those people who practice psychic powers and preach supernatural power and magical arts, for they are only concerned with spirits, deities, fortunes, and disasters. They break rules, talk wildly at will, and guide people down evil paths. They deviate from natural rules and principles. They sin greatly. Do not envy and yearn for capitalism. It invites its own destruction inevitably. Do not envy and yearn for socialism. Much deceit, injustice, and lies are within it, and its road is impassable. Light the divine lamp within your souls. Never do evil when encountering hardships and tribulations, but always continue with kindness. For it is only in this way that you can escape from your troubles and leave your suffering and disasters. Each of you has your own soul garden. You need to de-weed it and cut the poisonous grass from it as soon as possible, and then import the flowers of virtue. Cultivate and fertilize them well so that you will gradually step into the new era after the disasters have ended. Never run around blindly, for no place is absolutely safe. The key to saving yourself is inside yourself, for you can never outrun your shadow. As time is running out, do not let the excess of disinformation on the web and in the media devour your last chance, but search for life-related issues quickly. Follow the instructions laid out by saints and sages and venture to climb toward the ideal realm that mankind has dreamed of. The beauty of the future era is beyond belief. I have prepared the road for new era humans, which is the way of the greatest creator and the road of life genuine. We hope that you will avoid the disasters and step into our new era.
谁能经营好夫妻生活？
Who can manage a marriage well? Xu Efan. December 31st, 2018. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Kair. Everyone wants to manage their marriage well. They want to grow old together with their childhood sweethearts, respect, support, and love each other until they die, and be compliant and loving until the end. But try to answer this question. How many people across all times and countries can actually do this? Can emperors or presidents? Can billionaires? Can powerful and influential high officials and dignitaries? Can literary talents, experts, professors, or stars of entertainment? Can even ordinary workers manage them well? The answer is that no one can manage their marriage well. Even saints cannot do it. What is the ideal marriage? A happy marriage requires that there are never arguments or quarrels, no hurting words towards each other, mutual trust without suspicion, that neither will keep private money or even consider sexual relations with anyone else, and that both will treat their parents, parents-in-law, uncles, other in-laws, more distant relatives, friends, colleagues, neighbors, and children equally well and with the same spirit, heart, and courtesy, and without disagreements. Each respects and has much love for the other, and they never have any kind of cold war with verbal or emotional violence, let alone physical violence. The wife never attempts to control the husband by crying, misbehaving, or threatening to harm herself, and the husband never swears, curses, or threatens to harm his wife. When either is unhappy, the other takes good care of them and comforts them lovingly. They were not born on the same day, but they hope to die together in each other's arms. May I ask what husband or wife can do this? Stop fantasizing because there are none. They only exist in fiction novels. Question: where is the problem? Answer: it is in human nature. Human nature is inherently selfish, so knowing that, how could you hope to find such a thing in real life? The most complicated and difficult relationships in the world are those between married couples. If it is not a good match, then there will be no equality. If they are not in the same realm, then there will be no mutual understanding. If they do not make a perfect match, then it is inevitable that one will cheat on the other. If one of them is not enthusiastic about the other's career or hobbies, then they will not resonate in harmony. The relationships between married couples are not simply ones between two people. Rather, they involve all aspects of life. Unless a couple occupies an environment in which they are isolated from the world and rich in food, the war between them, whether obvious or secretive, superficial or deep, will only stop when death brings their relationship to a close. People all yearn for freedom, but as long as you are in a marital relationship, that will never happen. Will people be free if they earn more money? Will an official be free if they rise to higher ranks? Will a performer be free if they become famous? Will people be free if they escape to a foreign country? No, 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 and no. So stop cheating yourselves and each other. Your superficial tenderness cannot hide your heart's eagerness, and your superficial smiles cannot cover up your heart's bitter tears. People need to end marital relationships now. Then how are people to live without marital relationships while still satisfying their needs for spiritual, emotional, and physical intimacy? Blessed are we because it is for this reason that the ideal life mode which humans have dreamed of for thousands of years has finally arrived. It is the new oasis for life, the second home, mode created by Life Genuine. After nearly 10 years of exploration and experimentation, we have found that this mode can not only solve all the problems that all couples have faced and confronted, but also lead lives toward a rich and beautiful world of happiness, joy, freedom, and blessing. The problem which has not been solved for thousands of years finally has been, now. Discard your fantasies and troubles and start to move toward Life Genuine's new oasis for life.
Come closer.
Closer still. Do not try to change your husband or wife. Do not try to know and understand them thoroughly. Stop making unnecessary efforts, but try to build the new oasis for life wholeheartedly. Plunge into the life of the new oasis for life. This is the most rational choice for a better life. I hope that you can enter the new oasis for life, originally the second home, soon and experience the real joy of being human. Only then will you truly understand what human life can be.
人生每一次际遇都是一场考试。
Each encounter in life is an exam. Xiefeng. March 14th, 2019. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Care. Gods are watching from just above your head. A whisper in the mortal world is like a rumble of thunder in heaven. Evil that is done secretly is as recognizable to the greatest creator as a flash of lightning in your eyes. My body has carried my soul in this world for more than 60 years, and I have experienced much during that time. Since my mission to create Life Genuine began, I have made careful observations of everyone whom I encountered. It should be said that I am searching carefully for those who can go to heaven. To be honest, less than 1/100% can do this. That is to say, only 1 in 10,000 people can go to heaven. I have discovered many mysteries from my practice of reaping ripe crops. With every encounter in life is an exam, being one of them. After staring at every person I met, genuine celestials and others, I understood that the greatest creator is staring at every life being in the universe and that all things and persons who anyone encounters are exams for them. If one passes an exam, then they will move on to the next one. If they fail it, then they must continue in this incarnation for another exam. If they fail to pass the exams for a millennium, then they will reincarnate for a millennium. If they fail them for 10 millennia, then they will reincarnate for 10 millennia. The will of the greatest creator cannot be violated, but the human mind is unpredictable. Human minds can be good and evil because human souls are unpredictable and inconclusive. The only way is to set up tens of thousands of exams, and they will be your experiences in life. When you meet someone, how you treat them is an exam. When you encounter an event, how to deal with it is an exam. Whatever we encounter, even if it is facing a bug, a beggar, or a social activity, it is actually an exam. What people do not realize is that there are people who have always been staring at us, recording our merits and demerits. Even if you drift to a desert island, are an emperor sitting upon your throne, are in prison, or are talking to yourself, there are people staring at you, and you cannot escape the eyes of these people. I am speaking of the divine punishment, though slow, are always sure philosophy. Knowing this, I now realize that life is like walking on thin ice or on a tightrope because you can only be considered a spiritual self-cultivator and have the opportunity to go to heaven when you understand this. Without understanding it, no matter how well educated you are, how rich in wisdom you are, how many merits you have accumulated, or even if you have self-cultivated for tens of thousands of years, you can only be a mere human and can never reach heaven. The content of the exam is set by Tao, is very simple, and anyone can get passing scores. I will give 8 examples here. Someone sang or danced for you, so you clapped your hands and passed the exam. Had you been indifferent, you would have failed it. You dropped some food on the dinner table, so you picked it up, ate it, and passed the exam. Had you wasted it, you would have failed it. Someone cooked a meal for you, gave you their seat, praised and encouraged you, or helped you, so you thanked them and passed the exam. Had you not, you would have failed it. You encountered a tortoise while driving on the road, so you stopped the car and let the tortoise pass first and passed the exam. Had you just rolled over it, you would have failed it. You saw a beggar passing by and gave alms and passed the exam. Had you ignored them, you would have failed it. You met a lost person, so you patiently pointed the way to them and passed the exam. Had you ignored them, you would have failed it. You saw rubbish, so you cleaned it up and passed the exam. Had you turned a blind eye to it and left it there, you would have failed it. You caused inconvenience to others, so you apologized and passed the exam. Had you not apologized, you would have failed it. There are thousands of examples like this, and we should never think that any of them are unimportant. During my lifetime of dealing with people, I have found that most people's reactions cannot pass all of their exams. For example, a doctor speaks fine words, but when they have the opportunity to help a patient, they might avoid it. I often give likes to people who post on their WeChat moments, but they never give likes to the articles that I share. Hollow valleys echo, dead valleys are silent. If you read our 800 values for new era human beings, you are asked to contribute $1. The fact is that even if it is not 1,000,000 people, at least 100,000 people have read the values, but fewer than 10 people have paid these dollars throughout the past 10 years. This is the overall credit of a nation. A few days ago, I posted the article, "An amorous heart is the most true heart," in a WeChat group. As a result, the group owner immediately warned me to delete it. The owner failed the exam. Someone applied to add me on WeChat. I accepted and welcomed them, but they ignored my welcome. Some people speak very piously, but they completely ignore what you say. Someone came to me with a vow but left with neither a sound nor a trace, so I deleted them from my contact list. Deleted means gone, disappeared, dead. We are dead in each other's minds. Back to the point, no matter who we are, we experience many people and many things every day. Every encounter is an exam, and Tao is always our judge. Our future is determined by the results of our exams. The greatest creator has never abandoned anyone. He has been arranging encounters to save us. Once, twice, 10 times, thousands of times, he never gives up. We should not expect to enter heaven by passing only a single exam. What we need is to pass every exam, all of them. A failure of any exam will inevitably bring you back for a re-examination. We cannot have fluky minds. Tao's test is absolutely scientific, rigorous, meticulous, practical, and realistic. You are bound to encounter setbacks if you try to muddle through its exams by luck. The more stubborn one is, the closer they are to hell. Xiefeng. June 4th, 2019. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Care. Signs of hell include more troubles, sorrow, pain, and fear, with less freedom, joy, happiness, and blessing, and 2 unobstructed roads lead there. One is found by entering into an exclusive romantic and sexual relationship such as marriage, and the other is maintaining stubborn self-persistence. As long as you believe that you are always right, then you will definitely find your path to hell. Whether you are a president, a billionaire, a celebrity, a master, an expert, a scholar, or an ordinary self-involved person, clinging stubbornly to your views, opinions, values, measures, approaches, methods, conclusions, judgments, and so forth are always right and true proves that you are on your way to hell and that you are also bringing others along with you. This is an observation that I have drawn from history and through the current situation of humankind, which is based on the countless accumulation of facts. This observation and conclusion can be verified by everyone. Of course, my observation and conclusion are not necessarily correct because the complexity of life is unimaginable. The astronomical number of possibilities permutated and combined by 64 basic factors cannot be seen through or straightened out by human thinking, and it is even more difficult to study. Whoever believes that they are right is proving precisely their foolishness, ignorance, stupidity, stubbornness, and irrationality. Therefore, we must never again dare to think that our own opinions are always right or dare to judge others. As a result, our hearts are brightened. We need to stay away from those who insist that they are right in everything, regardless of whether they are a president, a master, a scholar, or expert in any field. And we therefore have to be humble. We have to look up to Christ Jesus, Buddha Shakyamuni, and Saint Lao Tzu instead of researching and exploring on our own. It is better to follow the teachings of these three. Today I learned that I, the founder and guide of Life Genuine, am very ignorant. Do you dare to say that you are right? Do you still want to stick to your opinion? You bastard!
生命禅院已为人类进入新时代铺好了路。
Life Genuine has paved the path into the new era of humanity. Dayform Buddha. June 26, 2019. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. In the following decade or so, climate change will lead to unending occurrences of droughts, floods, hailstorms, hurricanes, insect calamities, earthquakes, extreme weather, pestilence, and other disastrous events that will turn hundreds of millions of people into refugees, and famines will abound. In order to compete for limited essential resources such as food and water, people will engage in savage struggles which will cause social unrest and instability. The government functions of the United Nations and all countries will fail. Governments will no longer be able to control any part of the situation. Fear and despair will spread everywhere, and people will not see any kind of bright recovery. It is estimated that within the next 30 years or so, the global population will be reduced to less than half. Minor changes occur gradually, but major ones happen instantaneously. After these great changes occur, even the most powerful empires will collapse and disappear forever. The United States, China, Russia, Germany, Japan, France, and many others will cease to exist. Most electricity will be off, communications will be unavailable, and the world will be in chaos. Authority will not exist, religious organizations will do their best, but will be so scattered and disconnected that they will be powerless. There will be no way to save mankind. The occurrences of all these things will not only be caused by the script arrangement of the grand adjustment of the universal life, but also by the state of consciousness of humans. To be sure, it is the consciousness of recent generations that has brought on these changes, and now this trend can no longer be reversed, and we have to face the reality of what will happen soon. In order to deal with these great changes and guide the rest people into the millennium, Xie Feng, who created Life Genuine, began to make theoretical preparations in 2002 and has been practicing them since 2009. Now, the theoretical and practical preparations are ready and are laid out in Chanyuan Corpus and Xie Feng Corpus, and their essence has been condensed into the third edition of 800 Values for New Era Human Beings. The practice is the new oasis of life, the original second home, which was created by Life Genuine with the new production and life mode for humans. The main purpose for releasing this message is to attract the attention of modern, living sages and ring alarm to them so that they will not feel panic or act blindly when it happens. At the same time, I hope that everyone will begin to follow the lead of Life Genuine and to plan in advance so as not to mess up and regret their poor decision for the rest of their lives. 10 years later, there will be 256 branches of the new oasis of life throughout the world which will serve as an ark in the new era. The new order of production and life for humanity will expand outward from these branches of the new oasis of life to the rest of the world. Humanity will begin to lead a brand new existence, regardless of race, ethnicity, nationality, or religion, and from both the rich and the poor. The whole world will be as one family. People will live in the millennium era that humans have dreamed of for generations, in which the worthy person will utilize their talents fully. No one will keep lost articles found on the roadside, and homes will not need to be locked at night. And everyone will lead happy, joyous, free, and blessed lives. LifeChanuan has established an NPO called the International Big Family in British Columbia, Canada, and also another branch in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Those who are willing to enter the new oasis of life in advance can contact us to visit either. You are welcome to visit and explore here for more details and information about LifeChanuan's values and the new production and life mode, with the precondition that you must be a sage, neither mortal nor laity, and certainly not an ignorant person. Whether or not the above is a deceitful lie depends on your judgment based on your spirituality, but to be sure, it is impossible to draw a conclusion by logical reasoning and intelligent analysis. It would be better if the developing changes of the world would be different than the above scenario. I would prefer that LifeChanuan become notorious for this wrong prediction than that the great changes occur in the world, because no one wants such a tragic catastrophe to happen. As for the broad masses of people, listen to it or not as you like. You can just regard this message as a joke to laugh at and ridicule over dinner.
在意报仇雪恨。
A further discussion of revenge. Xiefeng. June 28, 2019. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Care. Each of you has a good understanding and attitude toward revenge. Having read your posts, I can see that you understand Chanyuan values well. As a new achiever of immortality, you must not have desires for revenge, let alone the motive or behavior for it. Because the world is faultless, all faults lie within us. If the outside world makes us uncomfortable, suppresses, and deceives us, or insults and deprives us of our freedom or property, then these are all our own faults and the root is still within us. From the law of causality, all effects originate from causes. The effect fruit that we eat, whether it is sweet or bitter, is caused by our own planting the cause. Therefore, revenge is tantamount to contending oneself. It is resisting the fruit that you deserve. The debt that should have been repaid will continue to cycle because of your revenge. On the road of self-improvement and self-cultivation to heaven, we need to place our lives into the hands of the greatest creator and give our lives to the management of Tao. Since we believe in Tao, we can just work hard towards the beautiful destination of truth, kindness, beauty, love, faith, and sincerity, and leave everything else to its arrangement and management. For enmity or hatred, we swallow, digest, and expel it. As for what punishment an enemy should receive, it is not our business, but rather that of Tao. How will Tao treat that enemy? We do not need to know. We only need to believe firmly that Tao is fair and will not favor anyone. We also realize that the sum of all positive and negative energy of the universe is zero. That is, what you give and what you gain always balance. Being humiliated, wronged, suppressed, and exploited are forms of giving, because since you have paid something, you will surely gain something else. As to what you will gain, Tao has its own arrangements and methods. Your gain may be health and longevity, auspiciousness and smoothness, adequate food and clothing, turning a misfortune into a blessing, or perhaps even going to heaven. In short, you will not give something for nothing, and of course you will not gain anything without paying something for it. So do not take revenge. Jesus taught us to take up our own cross and follow him. This cross is our suffering, grievances, and hatred. If we take revenge, it is equivalent to dropping the cross instead of carrying it. This runs counter to Christ's teachings. Buddha Shakyamuni also taught us that if people are despised for reciting the Diamond Sutra, then not only can their sins from previous lives be eliminated, but they can end their samsara by attaining supreme enlightenment and the state of spiritual immortality. Despised here means being bullied, which gives rise to hatred. If we take revenge, it is the equivalent of throwing away the benefits that we have obtained because of being despised and spoiling our fortunes and blessings, so it is never a good deal. Lao Tzu's teachings are that sages put themselves last, find themselves in foremost places, regard their bodies as incidental, and their lives are therefore preserved. Favor and disgrace cause our dismay. What we value and what we fear are within ourselves. We have fears because we have selves. When we do not regard the self as a self, then what do we have to fear? These imply that we should not avenge our hatred because we can only live if we do not take revenge, and can only be free from harm if we become selfless. So, is revenge wrong? No. Revenge is a punishment, but punishments and rewards are cosmic properties. Those who should be punished must be punished or justice would not be served. If one planted the cause of suffering, then they must bear its bitter fruit. If they made others bleed, then they must be made to bleed. If they killed others, then they must also be deprived of their life. As you have been measuring others, so shall you be measured. Now we need to know who has the authority to take revenge. Revenge should be executed by the universe's reward and punishment system, that is, Tao. How does Tao take revenge? If all humans do too much evil, then they will be punished with extinction. If some humans do too much evil, then they will be punished by large-scale catastrophes. If individual humans do too much evil, then gods and Buddha will punish them. Individuals who are wicked will punish each other. People have no right to take revenge on each other, and Chanyuan celestials have no authority to punish anyone. Revenge is a great good. Buddha asked, "If I do not go to hell, then who will? And why to save those who are in distress? How does one save those who are in distress? One way is to take revenge to punish the wicked. If evil cannot be contained and the wicked cannot be punished, then the so-called save those who are in distress is just empty talk. That is, Wu Gang cuts the sweet-scented osmanthus tree and Sisyphus pushes the stone up the mountain, which will never happen. Why should we worry about going to hell? Because taking revenge can lead easily to that. Since Buddha has attained supreme enlightenment and has reached the state of non-self, of course, for the sake of all beings, he is not afraid of going to hell. Therefore, Buddha can take revenge. Also, gods have the authority to take revenge and punish evil. If anyone becomes a god, then they can take revenge. So we can see the following phenomenon. One of great virtue does not claim virtue. One of great mercy does not flash mercy. One of great benevolence does not appear benevolent. One with great faith seems devoid of faith. Knowing the above principles, we can see a person's future, a nation's future, and humankind's future. At the same time,